Hare Krishna. Reading from Bhagavad Gita as it is by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Verse number 18, chapter number 2, Contents of the Gita summarized. Antavanta ime deha nityasyokta sharirina anashino prameyasya tasmad yudhyasva bharata. The material body of the indestructible, immeasurable and eternal living entity is sure to come to an end. Therefore, fight, O descendant of Bharata. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Ho. The material body is perishable by nature. It may perish immediately or it may do so after 100 years. It is a question of time only. There is no chance of maintaining it indefinitely. But the spirit soul is so minute that it cannot even be seen by an enemy, to say nothing of being killed. As mentioned in the previous verse, it is so small that no one can have any idea how to measure its dimensions. So, from both point of view, there is no cause for lamentation, because the living entity as he is cannot be killed, nor can the material body be saved for any length of time or permanently protected. See, the soul is permanent, it's eternal. It cannot be seen with material eyes or with material instruments. It is so minute. The soul is permanent, it is eternal. It is never born, it never dies. It just passes on from one body to another. The material body is impermanent. It was not there before and it will not be there in the future. It just came into existence in the middle and it will perish with time. So this is the basic difference between the material body and the spiritual soul. The minute particle of the whole spirit acquires this material body according to his work, and therefore observance of religious principles should be utilized. In the Vedanta Sutra, the living entity is qualified as light because he is part and parcel of the supreme light. As sunlight maintains the entire universe, so the light of the soul maintains the body. As soon as the spirit soul is out of this material body, the body begins to decompose. Therefore, it is the spirit soul which maintains the body. The body itself is unimportant. Arjuna was advised to fight and not sacrifice the cause of religion for material bodily considerations. In the Vedanta Sutra, the soul is said to be or is compared to light. Just as light illuminates a whole space around it, the soul within our heart energizes the whole body. And when the soul leaves the body is useless. See, in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is titled Contents of the Gita Summarized, there are about 72 verses. And in those 72 verses, the verse number 11 to verse number 30 is entirely dedicated to Sankhya Yoga or Jnana Yoga, where the description of the soul is given in detail, and also a comparison of the soul to the material body is also given. The nature of the soul, the function of the soul, the difference between the soul and the body, and so on. So verse number 11 to 30. We just finished verse number 18. Now we move on to verse number 19. य एनं वेति हन्तारं यश्चैनं मन्यते हतम् उभौ तो न विजानीतो नायं हन्ति न हन्यते. Neither he who thinks the living entity the slayer, nor he who thinks it slain, is in knowledge, for the self slays not, nor is slain. Purport. When an embodied living entity is hurt by fatal weapons, it is to be known that the living entity within the body is not killed. The spirit soul is so small that it's impossible to kill him by any material weapon, as will be evident from the subsequent verses. Nor is the living entity killable because of its spiritual constitution. What is killed or is supposed to be killed is the body only. This, however, does not at all encourage killing of the body. The Vedic injunction is Ma himsyat sarva bhutani. Never commit violence to anyone. Nor does understanding that the living entity is not killed encourage animal slaughter. Killing the body of anyone without authority is abominable and is punishable by the law of the state as well as by the law of the Lord. Arjuna, however, is being engaged in killing for the principle of religion and not whimsically. See, again and again we understand that the living entity cannot be killed because the living entity is in essence the soul. This body, the material body, is just a temporary covering for the eternal soul. The soul is never born and never dies, and it is Sanatan. It lives on forever and ever. So what happens is, just as we take off our dress and put a new dress, the soul removes the useless body and takes on a new body. Having said that, it does not mean that you can go around and kill anybody or any animal whimsically. No. Violence is not allowed in Vedas. It is allowed only under certain circumstances, such as this one. It is a dharma yuddha. In a dharma yuddha, for establishing the principles of religion or dharma, yes, violence is allowed. But violence is not allowed just to gratify our tongue. So, vegetarianism is always encouraged. Killing of animals to satisfy our taste buds is a punishable act in the laws of God. In this material world, if you kill another human being, the law of the state punishes you, right? Because the law of the state regards the human being as valuable, and animals, if you kill an animal, there is no law that will arrest you. That is why we have these slaughterhouses. Animals are killed as food. But Vedas do not allow that. Animal killing is prohibited. Animals can be killed only under certain circumstances, but not for eating them. So now we move on to the next verse. न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचिन्नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणो न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being. He does not come into being and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Purport. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. He undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called the steady or kutastha. The body is subjected to 6 kinds of transformation. It takes birth, it from the womb of the mother's body, it remains for some time, it grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. The soul, however, does not go through such changes. The soul is not born, but because he takes on a material body, the body takes birth. The soul does not take birth there, and the soul does not die. Anything which has birth also has death. And because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, and primeval. That is, there is no trace in history of his coming into being. Under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc., of the soul. The soul does not at any time become old as the body does. The so-called old man therefore feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate like a tree, nor anything material. The soul has no byproduct either. The byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls, and owing to the body, they appear as children of a particular man. The body develops because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoots nor change. So this was about a description of the soul. As has been said, soul is never born, never dies. The body, however, takes birth and it undergoes different transformation. There are 6 kinds of transformation. It takes birth, it remains for some time, it grows, it produces some effects, it dwindles, and then finally it vanishes. So we all are familiar with these 6 kinds of transformations that happen in the body. Babies are born, they stay for some time, they grow, they produce side effects or some effects, meaning you produce more offspring, then you dwindle, you become old, and then you die. This is a change of the body, and it has nothing to do with soul. Soul is completely different from the body. The soul does not undergo any change. It is Sanatan. It remains as it is forever. The changes only happen to the body. Therefore, the soul is free from the 6 changes of the body. In the Katha Upanishad 1.2.18, we also find a similar passage which reads, "Na jayate mriyate va vipaschinayam kutaschinna babhuva kaschet ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire." The meaning and purport of this verse is the same as in the Bhagavad Gita, but here in this verse there is one special word, vipaschit, which means learned or with knowledge. The soul is full of knowledge or full always with consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the symptom of the soul. Even if one does not find the soul within the heart, where he is situated, one can still understand the presence of the soul simply by the presence of the consciousness. Sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to the clouds or for some other reason, but the light of the sun is always there, and we are convinced that it is there for daytime. As soon as there is a little light in the sky early in the morning, we can understand that the sun is in the sky. Similarly, since there is some consciousness in all bodies, whether man or animal, we can understand the presence of the soul. This consciousness of the soul is, however, different from the consciousness of the Supreme, because the Supreme Consciousness is all knowledge, past, present, and future. The consciousness of the individual soul is prone to be forgetful. When he is forgetful of his real nature, he obtains education and enlightenment from the superior lessons of Krishna. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul. If so, Krishna's teachings of Bhagavad Gita would be useless. So here the difference between the individual consciousness and the supreme consciousness is stated. We are conscious of our body while the Lord is conscious of all the bodies. We are conscious of this particular birth. We don't know what we were before this birth. We don't know what we will be after this birth. Everything is a mystery for us. But the Lord is supremely conscious and He knows what happened in the past, what's happening in the present, and what will happen in the future. The Lord is supremely conscious. And another example is given of the sun in the sky. Sometimes because of the cloud, you can't see the sun, but because of the light, we know that sun has risen. Similarly, you may not be able to experience the soul in your heart, but the fact that you're conscious, or the fact that anybody is conscious, even the animals, anything that is conscious has a soul. There are two kinds of souls, namely the minute particle soul, Anu Atma, and the super soul, Vibhu Atma. This is confirmed in the Katha Upanishad 1.2.20 in this way. Anur Aniyan Mahato Mahiyan Atma Syajanto Nihito Guhayam Tamakratu Pashyati Vitashoko Dhatu Prasadan Mahimanamatmana. Quote, both the super soul Paramatma and the atomic soul Jivatma are situated on the same tree of the body within the same heart of the living being, and only one who has become free from all material desires as well as lamentation can, by the grace of the Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. Unquote. Krishna is the fountainhead of the super soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapters. And Arjuna is the atomic soul forgetful of his real nature. Therefore, he requires to be enlightened by Krishna or by his bona fide representative, the spiritual master. So here the example in the Katha Upanishad, a beautiful example is given of a tree where two birds are sitting on the branch. One bird is jumping from one branch to another, pecking the different fruits, tasting the different fruits, and very much lively and moving. The other bird is quietly sitting and watching the active bird. So we are like that tree. Our body is that tree. Our Atma is like that active bird. And our Paramatma in our heart is like the bird that quietly sits and watches the active bird. Paramatma is situated in everybody's heart, and that Paramatma watches the Atma. It guides the Atma. It is the super soul or Lord Himself. As said before, the Lord is present in all atoms of this universe as Paramatma. Hope you've understood something. Hope you've gained some understanding. Thank you for being there. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share this channel. See you next time. Till then, Hare Krishna. Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.